Hey, true believers. Today we are going over WildC.A.T.s issue 6, and I absolutely loved this issue. This is part 1 of Killer Instinct. From what I understand, this is supposed to be a 4-part crossover with Cyborg Force, which is pretty awesome in my opinion because everyone worked together. You know, when Image broke off, all the different, independent studios that fell under the Image umbrella, everyone still worked, kind of closely together. So I thought that was cool. Now, who made this book? This is Brandon Choi and Jim Lee's story, Jim Lee pencils, Scott Williams ink, Joe Chiodo doing colors, Mike Hessler letters, and then there's everyone else working on the book. The print date on this was December of '93. One thing that I kind of want to point out is, remember yesterday when we were talking about G.I. Joes and how the artwork just really grinded my gears? That book was from what, 2009? Something like that. So relatively new. 3D models, Photoshop, Illustrator, Maya, 3D Cinema. We have all these new, highly advanced programs. And that was the artwork that we got for that book. Now, let's go back in time, '93. Just right there, first page. Look at this. Look at the dynamics. Remember when I said talking about drawing the Marvel way? To kind of give you some, what is it called? Backstory, last issue. I'll make sure I leave a card here so you guys can check it out. There's this Gamoran place that the WildC.A.T.s have to take out. They do. Warblade runs into someone who he knows, takes off from the team, and then the explosion, while everyone else is trying to escape the self-destruct sequence, Priss and everyone's saying, we need to go back for Warblade, and Spartan's like, we got to get out of Gamoran airspace or else we're not going to survive. Half of our systems are offline. And as you can see here, Priss is saying, even without all our instruments, we're being found. And just look at that. He's looking over his shoulder at her, tense as a leader. Her stating the obvious. And then look at this. Do any of these look like Play-Doh characters to you? No. Even when they're falling, look at the detail that Lee put into this along with the art team. That's why I wasn't trying to be so cruel on the book, but that's what I was saying in G.I. Joe. Horrible, boring. This, they're all falling from the plane. Look at the Dutch angle. Look at everyone kind of just like, oh, ow. Freaking you just got blown up out of the MIRV. Maul goes to grab Adriana, who's Void. And then you see Spartan immediately grab Priss. Now, to kind of get off talking about the artwork here, the story, you start to see relationships blossom. And the narrator here is Cole, who is Grifter. It's like, everyone proceed calmly and quickly to your nearest exit. And he's just a smartass. That's why I love him. He reminds me of like Wolverine or Venkman from Ghostbusters or Raphael. He goes, where's a stewardess when you really need one? And so you see everyone's kind of scrambling to try to help each other. And you see, what's his name? Hadrian, what's his name? Patriot. No. Oh, God. Spartan. Not enough coffee yet. Looks like our white knight is rescuing his favorite damsel in distress instead of keeping the mind on the fight. And that's why I like Cole. He doesn't care. Like, he'll be part of the team, but it doesn't mean that he's going to follow all the rules, and he has his own opinion. He does not follow blindly. And so even though we're kind of getting this biased perspective on Hadrian from Cole, you can still see that Spartan, even though you can tell there's something going on between him and Priss, keeps his mind on the fight. Because he says here, he goes, relax, Voodoo. Fighting is my primary function. All I need to do is access, and like I says, all I need to is, I think someone forgot to do a little bit of editing there. All I need to do is access my database and get the schematics of those ships and find their Achilles heel. And just boom! And so while those two are working there, Maul's trying to he grabs Void and he starts increasing his mass. Now, for those of you that only watch the cartoon, yes, Maul got big in the cartoon. However, in the book, when Maul gets huge, like bigger than he can possibly handle, his brain basically shuts off, and he either becomes a mindless beast or just completely shuts down. Now, if you guys have never seen the cartoon, it's entertaining enough. And if you want to get the Tubi app, it's a streaming service, it's free. You don't have to have an account or anything. Just, add it to your phone, whatever, and look up WildC.A.T.s. It's on there, as is all the G1 Transformer cartoons and G1 G.I. Joe cartoons. So Tubi, highly recommend it. Now, as Maul continues in his size here, a guy smashes through this Gamoran ship, and he goes, "This one's for you, Adriana." And Adriana's real alias is Void. And then, while that's going on, Zealot and Grifter. From what I understand, they had a relationship prior to joining the WildC.A.T.s. He was taught, what's her sisterhood's thing? I can't remember, but she taught him their ways. They had a relationship, and then they broke it off. And the topical jokes do kind of fall flat, 'cause he goes, "Woo-wee, is this great or what?" It's like, I saw him do this in a movie once. This is no movie, and you're no Patrick Swayze. That's what makes it even better. And you're like, oh boy. Because I think they're kind of referencing, Point Blank. I think that's the name of it. If not, feel free to make fun of me down in the comments. But anyway, as they're going, he's like, "What a rush. Zealot, that was almost as good as the first time we..." "Don't flatter yourself, Brother Grifter." "Moi? If I recall, you were the one who was Can we get on with this?" So just to kind of see their relationship, like everyone's relationship start to flourish here in a way. I don't know, it adds, again, like how Chris Claremont would say that you basically get this like Days of Our Life drama with superheroes. And it works because you have to care about the characters other than just the action and the flashy costumes. And so you kind of want to see what happens with Zealot and Grifter. You want to see what happens between Pris and Hadrian. So that's just my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. And just the action, he takes out the villains. I don't want to give up the ship that they get inside of. And he's like, "Oh, the controls, it'd be great if we actually had controls that would be working." And she's like, "What? You mean you damaged the ship's flight controls?" Ship crashes. And then going back to Jeremy, who's Maul. He lands, or you can say a controlled crash, but you can see that the mass that he incurred, he shuts down. And so I think this is the first time you actually see Maul, instead of kind of going a little bit brainless, you just see him completely just brain dead, because his body's too big for his brain. And everyone's like, "What's going on?" And Void's just like, "There's no need to be afraid, Grifter. Jeremy only sought to protect me from harm. Unfortunately, at this size, his brain is simply shut down." And so while we kind of get the ending of that first part from issue 5, Spartan finds a way to kind of track down what Misery, I think was her name, wanted with Warblade, because she takes him hostage. But she gets away before the team can do anything. And again, going back to the artwork, dynamic, gorgeous, very saturated colors. None of that flat, straight-on crap that we got from that G.I. Joe comic. This is how you comic book right here, ladies and gentlemen. And then, of course, this is how you 90s. And I love it. Just all of a sudden, just obligatory full poster mode here, double page splash. Gorgeous work, but they're saying we're going to figure out how to get Warblade back. And then here's where we start to get, skip along, the backstory of Warblade and how Marlowe brought him into the fold. He's ended up being half dead. That's as far as I'm going to go into it. But this is where we kind of lead into part 1 of the Killer Instinct arc, because we see Warblade saying that I'm going to finish what I should have started with you, Ripclaw. So guys, we get drama, action, intrigue, mystique, everything that you could want in a comic book, along with freaking excellent artwork. That's why comparing a book from 1993 to 2009 and 93 still holds up. Ladies and gentlemen, you'd think that we would get better with time. No, whatever. It is what it is. WildC.A.T.s issue 6. Excellent issue. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and see if you cannot get your hands on a copy. I've noticed that this series, Gen 13, a lot of those early Image comics, surprisingly people say they're not worth anything, they're getting harder and harder to find. So whenever I find them, I gobble them up. If you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little WildC.A.T.s roar bell next to subscribe, that way we can continue to upload content. You guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.